The Victorian era stretched from 1837 to 1901. It was a time of scientific and political enlightenment, but also a time when myth and legend distorted our outlook. The Victorians told stories of witches, goblins, and other mythical beasts. Today we stand on the shoulders of hundreds of years of folk stories, because this is a list of 10 creepy Victorian monsters. During the 19th century, stories of tree people started to emerge. And when I say tree people, I mean trees that would attack people. There are tales of whole villages being surrounded and encroached upon by these seemingly harmless trees. Trees can't move very quickly, but literally within hours, the local villagers were astonished to find themselves being strangled to death by branches and roots. They simply didn't know how to fight back against the trees. And these people used to burn witches. The bunyip is a large mythical beast that was said to lurk in the swamps and rivers as it waits for its next prey. Its next prey, of course, being humans. It was sighted throughout Australia and was first reported in the early 1800s. There were 9 reported subspecies of the bunyip, each one looking completely different from the others. The word bunyip can be translated into several Aborigine languages as meaning evil spirit. Spring-heeled Jack can only be described as an unknown entity. His name comes from his notorious ability to make large leaps, often clearing whole buildings. There are dozens of reports of him attacking people as they walk through the streets of London at night. He looked more like a man than anything else. He was tall and thin, but his eyes were like balls of fire, and his fingers were like metallic claws. Skeptics have used this description to dismiss recent reports, arguing that he sounds like most politicians. A gargoyle is a sprout engineered to redirect water away from the walls of a building, but the Gothic design of these features has led many to wonder if they aren't for another purpose. By the 19th century, the gargoyle was strongly enshrined in European folklore. People believed that at night, they would come to life and take on their true forms as demons and spirits. They would scale the walls of their buildings and attack anyone that came near. According to legend, gargoyles would lure humans into traps more easily than tree people, as their speech wasn't quite as wooden. Jack Frost is ice and snow personified. During the Victorian era, he was known across Europe and North America as a mysterious and sinister being. The only way to know whether Jack Frost had paid you a visit was to wake up in the morning and find ice or frost on your windows. He is usually accompanied by a band of goblins who capture lesser creatures like imps and fairies and attempt to corrupt them. Jack Frost isn't all that bad, but I would avoid approaching him as he's very cold. And before you comment on it, I'm aware how bad that joke is. But that's the last one, I promise. A hag was a shape-shifting deity said to take on the appearance of an old woman who would attack humans as they sleep at night. According to English folklore, the hag would approach a sleeping victim and cause them to have nightmares. To this day, many people report encounters with the hag. These encounters can be dismissed as hallucinations, resulting from a condition known as old hag syndrome. Still, those affected live in constant fear of the hag. In the English county of Berkshire lies Windsor Park, a park that has long been associated with a spirit named Herne the Hunter. On cold nights, he appears at the base of Herne's Oak, the tree on which he was hanged to death. He can be seen riding through the shadowy woodland with his horse and owl, doing the one thing he knows how to: hunt. Local townsfolk warned their children, if you get close enough to Herne to see the antlers on his head, he will kill you. A werewolf is a folkloric human that is able to briefly transform into a wolf-man hybrid. Fables of the wolves kidnapping children for food led to the widespread persecution of suspected werewolf. The last of these occurred during the Victorian era. It was said that a person would become a werewolf if he slept outside on a Wednesday or Friday during a summer when the full moon shone down on them. Many believed that the only cure for this affliction was execution. A Hulder is a shape-shifting monster found in forests. She takes on the form of a human woman in order to lure men, sort of like a siren. If treated with respect, they will look out for you, protecting you from mischievous creatures. If disrespected, they will do whatever they can to hinder your journey through the forests of Europe. So just be nice to them if you can recognize them, which you can't. They're shapeshifters. The Wandering Jew is a biblical character. As a legendary figure, his story spread to Europe in the 13th century, but it lived on into the Victorian era. He was a man who taunted Jesus on the way to and during his crucifixion, and as a penalty for this, he was cursed to walk the earth until the second coming. They say that wandering the world aimlessly while being plagued by visions of a crucifixion is enough to turn any man into a monster. And so that brings us to the end of the list today. Remember to subscribe for more. And if you want to help me out, please like, comment and favourite this video, as it really helps it reach more people.